Our church family, Tuesday afternoon, and I thought I would just send a quick note to all of you about a couple of things. One is just to follow up with some thoughts that I was having regarding how God helps those who are in need. We've been saying over these last few weeks how much as a church family we want to look after and to care for those in need. And I said 2 weeks ago when I was looking at that little passage in Matthew 6 that Jesus commands us not to worry because God promises to take care of all our needs. And he does. He says, look at the birds, look at the lilies of the field. And if God is going to look after things that are far less important than you and I, then can't we rest assured that he's going to look after us? And he does, of course. The question that's sometimes asked as a result is, does that mean that Christians will never go hungry or will never be without clothes? And I think the ordinary answer to that, the general answer to that is, no, they won't. God will look after them. That's the promise. And so it would be extraordinary circumstances for that to not be the case, for Christians to be hungry or to be without basic provisions. It happens from time to time, but those are extraordinary cases, and God must have very good reasons for allowing that to happen. But I was reading recently through the book of James, because the question is, how does God look after those daily needs? And of course, most of the time it's through ordinary means. It's like the jobs he gives us, the kind of routine of having work and income and being able to buy what we need. But I was reading in James what James says, and this is quite interesting. In James chapter 2, he says, "What good is it, brothers and sisters, if someone claims to have faith but has no deeds? Can such a faith save them? Suppose a brother or sister is without clothes and daily food." Now that's interesting. So here you got a brother or sister, a Christian, who is without daily food and clothes. So how does God provide for them? Well, interestingly, the book of James goes on to say, verse 16, "If one of you says to them, 'Go in peace, keep warm and well fed,' but does nothing about their physical needs, what good is that? In the same way, faith by itself, if it is not accompanied by action, is dead." So what God is saying to us is that, yes, he will provide for our basic needs. That's the promise. But one of the ways he does that is through one another, as we provide for those in need, as we look at those who have a bit of a problem or a crisis or a need, and we respond to it in generosity and we give where we can. And Jesus says, if you don't respond in generosity when you see a need, well, that's like having faith but without deeds. It's dead. It's useless. So one of the ways that we care for one another is in this very practical way. This is one of the ways in which God clothes us and feeds us. So I want to encourage you again, and I want to thank you first of all for all of those who have been contributing to our care fund and have been taking care of one another. Let's continue to do that. If you can continue to make a contribution or to help in some way, do that. If you can continue to help the poor by supporting those organizations like U-Turn or OSDE, and there are plenty of good organizations out there, then do that as well. So God is at work providing for our needs, but often he does it through us as well. And then just two other things I wanted to mention by way of family news. One is that we had our first virtual wedding on Saturday. Nick and Nicole from our church got married on Saturday afternoon. We had a Zoom wedding, and it was a wonderful occasion. I'll stick a photo up as well so that you can have a look and that you can maybe send them a note of congratulations. And then on a sadder note, this Friday we're having a memorial service for Kobus Visagie. It'll be the first memorial service we're having during lockdown. And of course there are very strict stipulations. We can only have a maximum of 50 people, for example. It has to be socially distanced, all the rest of it. So it's not an open funeral, unfortunately. It's only for those who are family and friends. But we will live stream it. That's the aim anyway. So go along to our YouTube channel and you'll be able to be part of it, even if you can't be there. Kobus was a wonderful man. And our thoughts and our prayers go out to Liz and to Andre and Dion and the rest of their family. Well, that's some family news for Tuesday afternoon. I hope that you're keeping well, and we'll talk again soon.